the day that we were born, Mom hugged us with warmth, and we grew cause we knew we had all your support. From the fams to the friends, your love was medicine, keep giving us the strength to rise when we would sin, and the knowledge that we gained through every single mistake. But you never backed down through this, you taught me faith. Every single one of you, through being you, you do find a way to spread love, truth through me and you. And it's because of you I grew, because of you I flew, because of you I made it through without residue. Because of you we all have a home to come to. You're a blessing to us all, so keep just being you.
To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, you're everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold. Yeah.
First I thank the universe, the infinite, the all. Kaja, Allah, whatever name you call. Then I thank the ancestors, yes, the predecessors. The wisdom and the knowledge that they passed only bless us. Shot the Marcus Garvey, MLK, Malcolm Gandhi, Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, Tupac, they remind me. The power of the pen, the music and the voice. Everything they've done, let me know I have a choice. Now for my people, mom, pop, sister, brother, best friend, acquaintance, lover, co-worker. Even if I don't know you, all the good that you do helps me see my way through. Surface space, thanks for sharing all the good
To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, you're everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I'll bow down to your heart of gold. Yeah.
When I close my eyes, I always see learned souls who walk with me. They taught to laugh, they taught to love. You go to hug when push comes to shove. Turn the cheek, forgive, walk away. Tomorrow is another day. Life is short, helping hands, they say, are holier than the ones who
To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, you're everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold. To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, you're everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold. To my people. To my people, yeah. To my people, to my people, yeah. Give my soul, that's what you me to help me grow. To my people, yeah. I bow down to your heart of gold. To my people.
Please join us in prayer. The one power, the one presence, the one love, the infinite source of life itself, of nature itself, the intelligence back of all creation, absolute presence, the eternal reality, that which was never born and can never die, absolute peace, absolute wholeness, absolute joy.
And knowing that we are each and every one of us one with that perfect presence. We are each and every one of us a unique, divine, perfect, holy, whole, glorious expression of that perfect presence, that perfect life that lives in each of us, as its being in each of us, lives and moves in, through, and around each of us. We are one with that.
And so knowing that to be true, knowing that divine perfection is who I am and what I am, I speak my word with conviction. I know that we already have everything we need to meet this moment in history like bosses. I know that within each of us there is an infinite well of courage and wisdom and compassion and empathy and foresight and insight and right sight. Clarity about what is ours to do, strength to move in right action, confidence and faith, knowing that we are loved and guided and supported in every way, every step of the way, as we powerfully claim and create this new world. This world that we want to see, this world that works for everybody, this world of awakened souls, shining the light of love everywhere we go. It's all consciousness. And so I align myself right now with the consciousness of peace, with the vibration of truth, of oneness, of freedom. I know that anything that appears to be in the way is the way. There is no obstruction to the perfect flow of good that I am claiming for all of humanity right now. I know that any appearance of disharmony or dis-ease dissolves back into the nothingness from which it came, because God plus nothing leaves nothing but God. I embrace and accept the reality of this beloved community of divinely human beings upon this beautiful planet Earth, knowing that oneness is experienced, oneness is realized, that we get to experience ourselves and each other in bigger ways than ever before.
And for that, I am wildly grateful. For that truth, I am filled with a gratitude indescribable. I'm filled with the greatest feeling of thankfulness and thanksgiving, greatest celebration of yes and thank you, the greatest, most uplifting, grateful, expansive of the divine as me, as you. I say thank you, and I say yes.
And so just knowing that the words I speak, that the words we speak cannot return to us void. I simply let go and release this prayer into infinite mind, knowing that it is good and very good, knowing that only good comes to us and only good comes from us. I let it be, I let go, and I let God, and so it is.
And so in 1967, Martin Luther King Jr. said, "There are 3 words for love in the Greek New Testament. One of the words is eros. Eros is a sort of aesthetic, romantic love. Plato used to talk about it a great deal in his dialogues. The yearning of the soul for the realm of the divine. And there is and can always be something beautiful about eros, even in its expression of romance. Some of the most beautiful love in all the world has been expressed in this way."
Then the Greek language talks about philos, which is another word for love. And philos is a kind of intimate love between personal friends. This is the kind of love you have for those people you get along with well. And those whom you like on this level, you love because you are loved.
Then the Greek language has another word for love, and that is the word agape. Agape is an overwhelming love which seeks nothing in return. Theologians would say that it is the love of God operating in the human being.
When you rise to love on this level, you love all people, not because you like them, not because their ways appeal to you, but you love them because God loves them. This is what Jesus meant when he said, love your enemies. And I'm happy that he didn't say, like your enemies, because there are some people that I find it pretty difficult to like.
Liking is an affectionate emotion. And I can't like anybody who would bomb my home. I can't like anybody who would exploit me. I can't like anybody who would trample over me with injustices. I can't like them. I can't like anybody who threatens to kill me day in and day out. But Jesus reminds us that love is greater than liking. Love is understanding, creative, redemptive goodwill toward all people.
So that agape love that Dr. King was talking about, that understanding, creative, redemptive kind of love, that love put into action is what Valerie Kaur calls revolutionary love. And she and her team created this awesome compass for how to practice revolutionary love. And it has 3 sections: how to love others, how to love our opponents, and how to love ourselves in radical and revolutionary ways. In the section on loving our opponents, the 3 components are rage, listen, and reimagine. She says to rage is to honor and tend to our own pain so that trauma does not hijack our ability to see another's humanity. And she talks about finding safe containers within which to process our rage in ways that are healthy and safe for ourselves and for others. Then is the practice of deep listening, seeking to understand those who oppose us in order to preserve their humanity and our own and build bridges of understanding. And from there, we can begin to reimagine solutions and affect real change. So actress and singer-songwriter Maggie Wheeler was inspired by this model to write this song, and it's called It Is a Rhythm. So I encourage you to sing along and just make this song one of your anthems of how to be love in action. And thank you so much, Maggie Wheeler. Please check Maggie out at goldenbridgecommunitychoir.com, especially if you love to sing like I do.
It is a rhythm, it is a rhythm, it is a rhythm. Step away to rage, return to listen. It is a rhythm, it is a rhythm, it is a rhythm. Step away to rage, return to listen. It is a rhythm. Step away to rage, return to listen, and reimagine the solutions together. It is a rhythm. Step away to rage, return to listen, and reimagine the solutions together. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm. A rhythm. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm. A rhythm. It is 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 a rhythm. Step away to rage, return to listen, and reimagine the solutions together. It is a rhythm. Step away to rage, return to listen, and reimagine the solutions together. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm. A rhythm. It is 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 a rhythm. Rhythm. It is a rhythm. Step away to rage, return to listen. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm. Step away to rage, return to listen. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm. Focus with precision. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm. It is a rhythm, a loving revolution, a loving revolution, a loving revolution, a loving revolution, a loving revolution.
I don't want to unify with white supremacists, or my Republican neighbor, or my libertarian friend, or my Democratic mother, or what in the actual frickety frack with this unity and oneness business? Well, let's see what all of the world's faith traditions, or at least a good handful of them, have to say. Jesus of Nazareth. Love the ineffable with all your heart, with all your breath, with all you have and are, and love your neighbor as yourself. This is the whole of the teaching and the prophets. From the Torah, you shouldn't owe anything to anyone except love. When you love someone, you have fulfilled the teaching, the commandments not to commit adultery, not to murder, not to steal, not to covet, and any other commandment can all be summed up in one: to love your neighbor as yourself. Since love never wrongs the neighbor, love fulfills the teaching. From the Upanishads, one and infinite, beyond north and south, east and west, above and below. One who knows this becomes this. From the Quran, to God belong the east and the west. Wherever you turn, there is the face of God. Witness, God is infinite, all-knowing. From Hindu Sutra, all living creatures born of every class, whether from eggs or from wombs or from water, with form or without form, whether free or not free from thought, or beyond the worlds of thought, such things come from me, so that nirvana might be attained. Mamma mia, mamma mia. If we want to love the one, we've got to love the many. Oh, I know. I hate it. I don't want to unify with them. How do I possibly wrap this very human brain of mine around loving the many? I know. What in the actual friggity frack? I am to love the one with my breath, with my being, with all that I am. I am to know that there is only one, and that all of life, east, west, above, and below, from womb or from egg, it is all part of this one, and I have to love it? Ooh. What does that mean? What does that require of me to love the one who is the many? Dang it. Well, let's see what Martin Luther King Jr. has to say about it. Liking is an affectionate emotion, and I can't like anybody who would bomb my home. I can't like anybody who would exploit me. I can't like anybody who would trample over me with injustices. I can't like them. I can't like anybody who threatens to kill me day in and day out, me either, MLK. But Jesus of Nazareth reminds me that love is greater than liking. Love is understanding, creative, redemptive goodwill toward all people. So here's the good news. We do not have to like everybody to love them. We don't have to like what God is doing to love God. We don't have to like the outer circumstances of the world, of our lives, of the other humans on this planet. But we got to find a way to love him. We got to get creative. Martin Luther King Jr. says love is creative. So how can we get creative in this love? How can we begin to stretch our arms wider than we've ever stretched them before to include in our loving those who we believe we cannot? How do we allow love itself to be redemptive in our own beings, so that whatever hate, whatever disdain, whatever ill wishes we may mean somebody in some moment, how can we each be redeemed to find that love when it seems impossible, when it seems out of our reach? We've got to be willing to be redeemed. We've got to decide that to love the one means to love the many, and often loving the many is how we love the one. Dang it! I know, and it's hard sometimes. But loving and liking are two different things. We do not have to be affectionate with all that we love. We do not have to bring near those that mean us harm. Those would rather see me dead do not get an invite to my dinner table. But I love them. I love them because they are one of the divine emanations of the one. And in my loving, I can do one of those principles of beloved community that MLK Jr. talks about, which is I can seek understanding. That's one of those creative ways I can begin to stretch beyond what I think is beyond my capacity, is I can begin to seek understanding. I can educate myself about the one who wishes me dead. I can educate myself about the ones who would rather see me in some other country, on some other land. I can seek understanding. Reverend Howard Thurman, who was also one of MLK Jr.'s mentors and teachers, said that love is often achieved because we seek understanding. And I know I can hear the pouting in my own head, so I know there's pouting in your head right now. I don't want to understand a white supremacist. I don't want to understand why they voted Republican. I don't want to understand why they blew up the building, why he beat his wife. I don't want to understand. I get it. I get it. That already feels too close, right? That already feels like an invitation to bring that a little bit too near to me. But that is what love does. It seeks understanding. Love says, I have the capacity. I have what it takes to stretch my arms beyond what I think I can stretch and find a way to wrap my arms around what feels completely outside of reason. But here's what I know. It is through that understanding that I get redeemed. It is through that understanding that I am able to contact the ineffable, where I am able to be like, damn, I had no idea. Wow, God. Wow. I didn't know this person's life experience. I didn't know how big love could get in order to bring us a little closer together. Wow. It is beyond my understanding sometimes. But love redeems me enough so that I seek it anyways. And I can pout all the way there if I want to. I might have to go hard into that kind of love that might include somebody who sees me as less than. It might take a lot of love to make that invitation into my arms. But that is how big God is. And as someone who has made a commitment to spiritual living, as someone whose greatest desire is to have the experience of communion with the one greater and greater and greater, damn it, I've then been asked to love more than I thought I could. I've been asked to include more in my circle than I thought I could. Because to love the one means I must love all that it is. And all the ways that it shows up. I don't have to like it. Don't have to like it. Don't have to befriend it. But I do know my great desire of a manifest beloved community means that I got to get myself in a place that it can include more into the concept of this beloved community. I know that if I want, which is what I want more than anything on this world, on this planet, in my experience, to know God, then I must seek understanding of the many. And I'm not here to tell you what to do. Not my job. But I am offering you a hard truth. I am pointing out what has been pointed out since the beginning of the written word, since the beginning of every religion that we are aware of, this whole idea of oneness. And that this is the greatest goal we can have as human beings, is to live this truth. And everybody says you got to love the one. You must see the face of God everywhere, it says in the Quran. You must know the infinite so that you know the infinite capacity and totality of this one. And when you know that, you are it. We don't get to cherry pick God. We don't get to tell God, I like this version of you, but I don't like that one. I'll love this much. I'm not loving this much. I'll love this much. Well, that is one of our options. We get to determine how far we are willing to go. We get to determine how big we will grow our hearts. We get to determine how much love we are willing to experience. And here's what I know. Every one of you wants love. Every one of us wants to be loved. I don't care what title you hold. I don't care what socio-political place you find yourself on this planet. Every single one of us wants to love and be loved, and it is our birthright. And for those of us who say we are on the spiritual journey, we got to work it out. We got to work out this idea of loving the one with our breath, with our beings, with our living, with our entirety. We don't get to say we are folks living spiritual lives if we aren't willing to open ourselves to the love and the many that God is. We also get to be all the kinds of gentle and creative and redemptive with our own selves and find ourselves where we are in that process. Because there's going to be some moments where I'm like, I can't stretch. Nope, not in this moment. I'm going to have to reel it in. And that's okay. But then we get to come back and try again. And we get to come back and try again. Because we don't have to like everybody. We don't have to like what it looks like out in that manifest universe. But we must find our way to love and to loving. So one of the things that I have discovered along the way is there are infinite practices that help us grow our capacity for that love, that help us find more creative ways to inch our hearts a little bit more open. And one of my favorite books that does that is Rabbi Rami Shapiro's book, Preparing to Practice the Sacred Art of Loving Kindness. And it's full, from all of these different spiritual traditions, of practices that help us do that a little better. And that give us permission to fail and stumble and get it wrong, because we're going to do that over and over. And that's why we call it practice. Because we keep coming back to our practice. We keep coming back to loving the one with everything we've got. And we try again and again and again and again, and we get a little bit better at it and better at it. And we experience the love a little more and a little more. That is spiritual practice. So I want to invite you into a Buddhist practice that I discovered in Rabbi Rami Shapiro's book. And one of the experts in the Western world on this metta practice, which is the practice we're going to do together this week, is from an explanation from Sharon Salzberg, Buddhist teacher. She says, we can open to everything with the healing force of love. When we feel love, our mind is expansive and open enough to include the entirety of life in full awareness, both its pleasures and its pains. We feel neither betrayed by pain nor overcome by it, and thus we can contact that which is undamaged within us, regardless of the situation. I want to say that again. When we are feeling the love of God, we come into contact with that is in us that is undamaged, regardless of any set of circumstances or situations or experiences. The love of God that resides in each of us, that we are each attempting to grow in our practice, cannot be damaged, cannot be broken, cannot be harmed, cannot be diminished. Which means when we are in contact with that kind of love, when we are in contact with a force that great, we cannot help but to grow our arms wider. And we can include, as she says, the entirety of life in full awareness. That's how we love the many as the one. So this practice is explained by Rabbi Shapiro. Metta practice is essentially the act of wishing self and others well. But it is more than a psychological game or the fierce focus on empty affirmations. The affirmations you use in meta practice set your intention. Just as the slightest turn of a rudder can in time change the course of a boat, so the intention of meta can turn the course of your life. That's why we practice. It's not that we're going to say a prayer and suddenly we're good with being unified with a white supremacist. No, we practice so that we can inch our hearts open just a little more, just a little wider, to include more of life with every breath, with every touch of the ineffable, with every attempt at loving God through the many. So here is the actual practice. And I invite you to do this as many times a day as you possibly can, all week long. May you be free from fear. May you be free from compulsion. May you be blessed with love. May you be blessed with peace. And here's the dealio. You start the practice with yourself. You wish all of these things for yourself in this practice first. And then you go out a little further in your circle. And you wish that for your beloveds, for your chosen beloveds, your chosen family, whoever is in that circle of love that's easy for you to love. You already got your arms around these folks. And you make this wish for them. And then you reach out a little further to folks that maybe you don't love in a consistent or direct way on a regular basis, and you include them. Might be your city or your state or your country. And you make these wishes for them. And then you invite into your practice those who you find it hard to love. And you make these wishes for them. And what I will say in my own practice of this is, it's not always easy to make it real, to make it heartfelt, to allow yourself to be shifted just that little bit, to include a little bit more. There was a time a few years ago, as many of you may already know this and some of you may not, but we went through a huge hullabaloo in this community. And there were a lot of hurt feelings, including my own. And I engaged this practice. And I took myself and this community and the ones who I felt so hurt by and so enraged at, and I took them into this meta practice. And there were days in my may you be free from fear, may you be free from compulsion, may you be blessed with love. And as I would go through these blessings, there were moments when I was like, these MFs. May you be may you be free from fear. And some days it took a long time to get through those blessings. Some days those blessings for myself are hard. But I'll tell you what, it is in that practice you may not even notice. A few weeks from now, a few months from now, a few years from now, you're going to run into a situation, you're going to run into a somebody, and it's not going to be that deep. It is not going to shake you the way it shook you yesterday because of this practice. You're going to see something on the news, you're going to hear something or read something, and you are going to notice a little more equanimity in your response because you practiced. So that's the invitation. May you be free from fear. May you be free from compulsion. May you be blessed by love. May you be blessed with peace. And I invite you, as you do this practice and make this part of what's in your toolbox on your spiritual journey, you can begin to make invitation into your practice the white supremacist. You can invite into your practice the Republican, the Libertarian, the Democrat, the abuser. You invite them into your practice. You don't have to invite them to dinner. Not yet. May it be so.
It speaks to like the notion of difference and sameness. You know, it's like we are all different, but we're all one. You know, there's that song, that U2 song, "We are one, but we are not the same."
We've got to carry each other.
Got to carry each other. And, you know, the idea of that's a little incomprehensible to a lot of people, I think. I think the notion that, you know, we are one, and we're not the same. And we're going to have differences of viewpoint, differences of practice, differences of, you know, Amani said something about, you know, she was referencing Jesus, actually, and that Jesus spoke to, you know, having absolute devotion to the ineffable, were her words. You know, the first two commandments, love God and love your neighbor. That's the whole of it. That's all of it. You do that and you're good. And, you know, the Bible also speaks to, you know, it's not a big deal to love your brother. You know, you love your enemy. And Amani speaks to, you know, you mean I have to, like, you know, have union with the white supremacists? I have to have union with, you know, the guy who voted for the guy that nobody really wanted around. And she lists this whole, you know, sequence of people that somebody is not going to have favor with. And the answer is yes. It's like, you know, you don't have to have dinner with these folks. You may not like them, but you have to love them. You really do. You have to go to this place where, you know, you understand what love is and you mean it. And you really do love your neighbor as you love yourself. You don't have to like them. You may not like them at all. You may never want to hang out with them, but you have to love them. You have to wish for them the best that they could possibly have for themselves. You know, that in our world, the world of, you know, Centers for Spiritual Living, we talk about a world that works for everyone. And a world that works for everyone is everyone, because everyone is everyone. It's not everyone except or everyone but. It's everyone. And I just, you know, a lot of what you say really speaks to that.
And I think even though love is the uniting energy, right? Loving individuals that are different. What does that loving experience of loving white supremacist? What is the experience of loving somebody who breaks into your house and invades your privacy, and, you know, all these people who are hostile to you or seems to destruct? Loving experience of loving not people who are engaged in the moment would be very different. You know, all the love doesn't feel the same. I think loving for me, you know, Nancy Pelosi was saying, I pray for President Trump when President Trump was still, you know, and I think it's with a broken, painful, bleeding heart. Yeah. So love is uniting force, but how we experience it, how the energy leaves us, feels different. And it has to be, right? Sometimes the love is very easy to flow and it kind of comes back, you know, when that mutuality of love that's evoked in the Song of Solomon, you know, Song of Songs. And but sometimes loving someone, it's painful.
Yeah.
And there's flavors of love, right? I mean, I think that's a TV show too. But there's eros, agape, philos, you know, fraternal love. And And I think there's obviously space for all of those. Agape, that transcendent, all-encompassing, I will love you regardless love. And there is the passionate, desirous, feeling, sensual love that you feel, when you're really like connected to somebody on a like/love level. And there's, the love of, there is that, I love my work. I love to create. I love, these words that have been written. I love humanity. I love horses, dogs, whatever. So there are ranges of love, yeah. And not that any of them are not love, any more than, rice is food just like oranges are and just like, vegetables are. And yet they're not all the same food.